Yo, 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 what's going on?
Hi.
We got Ant with a fresh dew and a little something on his eye. We got Lee chat today. What's happening?
Sorry, I was admiring.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
And so what female did you beat up today, just out of curiosity?
She was, I don't know, she was from Stripper Talk. Not to be confused with Teepee Talk. She was from Stripper Talk.
Okay.
All kinds of stuff out lately.
Yeah. Stripper Talk is triggered today. I'm sorry.
She not do a good enough pole dance for you or something? Is that why y'all got into it and you got the little gash or what?
We were fighting over the pole, actually. I was trying to
Were you trying to show her how stripping directly aids to human trafficking, you mean? And trying to show her that she's better than that as a woman?
No, he was trying to outdo her on the pole. Don't push it.
Yeah. Now I feel like
It was trying to aid to human trafficking. Moving forward.
I was not. It's a false story. Do not run to the press with that one.
Too late. Just got it across my news feed on Twitter.
The ants on Stripper Talk.
Conservative ant aids and child sex trafficking.
I don't even know how to start this one, you guys, because this is like a totally different show than what we've done before.
I'm ready for it, though.
Let's go.
Okay, start it, Tox. Go.
Well, we have
You're the leader.
Lena Bobina on here. And Kat, you guys used to work together, right?
Mm-hmm, we did.
All right. And so you guys are going to be kind of discussing really how COVID really affected you guys, right? Like as far as the work environment goes, not personally.
Right.
That's the plan, Stan, yes.
All right. Well, kick it off, Kat.
Oh, I have to start? Well, yeah, because you know what? Actually, I think that you're going to, because yours you continued on past me. So me and you worked at a facility together. We're both CNAs. So a CNA is a certified nursing assistant. For those of you who don't know what long-term care is, when your loved one who is elderly is no longer able to perform ADLs, which is your activities of daily living, they would come and stay with us. And long-term care is not to be confused with like a dementia unit or they have to be able to take care of themselves to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to be able to take care of themselves to a certain degree. I'm sorry. There really shouldn't be like where
definitely make that distinction because they didn't.
No, they didn't. Like technically, like I remember me and you talking in the dining room, like, aren't we supposed to not be distributing medications like this? Like, we were taught in school that we weren't supposed to be doing what they were having. I mean, this was before COVID, if we're being completely honest here. This was before COVID that, you know, we were administrating medications that weren't within our scope of practice. When you go into nursing, every level that you kind of go up in nursing, you have a scope of practice, and it's what you can practice and what you are not supposed to practice. Obviously, if there was like a car accident or a medical emergency, some of that kind of gets a little fuzzy if you're saving someone's life. But CNAs are not supposed to directly like give somebody medication. We can assist somebody with their medication, but we are not supposed to be directly administering it. But they definitely had us doing that. But yeah, no, we worked together, and when COVID hit, at least my experience there, because we were on different floors as well. Because you were downstairs primarily, right?
Yeah, I did the most of the bottom floor.
Right, and then I was in the middle floor. So there was 3 floors to our facility. It didn't matter what floor you were on. They were all kind of mixed on who could do what. But I was on a middle floor. And my experience, at least, like when COVID hit before I left, was everybody was really fear-mongered in there from the rip, like from getting pulled into the office when COVID first hit, you know, And our boss was like, I'm on the phone with the CDC. Like, it was panic stricken. But, calm down and don't talk about this too much. But we have to do this and we have to do this. And we had no PPE. We had no masks.
We had
nothing.
No. Like, we didn't have gloves. I remember, like, we couldn't. Half the time, like, at first they were always telling us don't wear a mask because then you're going to scare people. But then, I was like, I am definitely wearing a mask if all this is happening. And so then they're like, okay, do wear masks. And then we had to wear shields. And then we had to, have these protocols. And they never were the same. They were constantly changing and going against each other constantly.
And all that mattered was keep those people in their rooms. Do not let them out of their rooms. I had said, can we play hallway bingo with them where they're just at their doors?
Right.
I'll run it. I'll come in on a day off. I don't even care. They wouldn't allow us to do that. You weren't even supposed to be in a room for too long.
Right.
So my worst experience was there was a resident that was on my floor who was sent out for a surgery a few weeks before COVID hit. Mm-hmm. She really shouldn't have gotten the surgery. I mean, she was 101, right? 101, 102.
101, 102, something like that.
Yeah. So it was kind of pointless, but they did it anyways, and that's fine. Well, when she came back, she was sick, and she got sent out again. Mm-hmm. Well, when she came back, she was received at the door, and the ambulance driver was running a fever. Mm-hmm. This is during COVID, like beginning of COVID. We didn't know what it was beginning of COVID. And they let him in it was a girl, I think, actually. They let her in anyways. And she had traveled outside the country in the last 14 days as well. Mm-hmm. Let her bring, even though there was that made no logical sense because there's an RA, there's somebody right there to get her. One of her RAs is right there to get her, to take her to her room. The ambulance person does not need to come in. Right. I never understood that. So now there's this stigma around her, right? Because now this person brought her in. So she must be sick. She had COPD. She was dying. She was 102. So they sent her home with some more help. I went in and she was in the same clothes that she had come home in. And I came in 2 days after the fact. And I couldn't get anybody to help me with her that day. Nobody would go in the room. Nobody would help me lift her. Nobody would help me bathe her. Nothing. They were like, dude, no, like that guy was running a fever. And so in my head, I'm like, how is she eating?
Right.
She's in bed. They didn't have her propped up, nothing. Now, I want to be very clear that this was a bougie ass minimum $7,500 a month Boku buck facility that does not take insurance at all. You are paying cash to be there. Mm-hmm. These people have 5-star dining, chandeliers in all of their dining halls. Like these are loaded people, loaded. So no one was feeding her. Her morphine came in. She was 3 days behind on her morphine because they were too scared to go in the room to treat her because it was a constant fear mongering thing. And I remember it was like one of my last little bit. I left very shortly afterwards because I don't think I stayed much. 2 weeks after you transferred.
No, I remember you calling me and you're like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore.
No, dude, because like literally I'm sitting there. I'm like, you guys killed her. Mm-hmm. Like I went in, I remember calling Cody and I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this virus is. All I know is that like, I'm scared to touch my kids. I'm stripping down my clothes when I come home and they're letting her die alone though. And they don't care. They don't care. And you know, her family didn't care. They didn't care because they got all of her money.
She never saw them.
No, they were never there unless they had to take her to the hospital or something else. And I remember like I charted it. I know I charted it every single day. Like they are not taking care of her. I almost got fired because I went into the cafeteria and screamed at the food service because there was 3 days with a food stacked outside of her door. Jeez. She's in bed. How is she supposed to get up to get her food?
Right.
So she did. I mean, when she passed away, I was like, you have to be kidding me. And like, thank God, because the day before, like I went in there And then only one other RA came in, and it was the male, the only one, believe it or not, like sweetest person ever. And I was like, you have to help me. Like, she's sitting in her own pee. Would you want to die that way? Are you kidding me right now? Like, so we stripped her bed, we flipped her mattress, and we wound up we had to take our masks off. We were just dripping sweat. We took all of our PPE off because we couldn't breathe in there while trying to care for her. She ate, she was bathed, she was cleaned, she was morphined, she was happy. And I'm pretty sure it was like within a 24 to 48 hour span of time after that. And the screwed up thing is that she will forever be known as a COVID-19 death because she was exposed to COVID on the way back to the facility. Nobody got COVID from her. I was in there with no mask, all up in her business.
Right.
I'm talking like straddled around her because nobody would let me take a lift in there. Nobody would let me do anything in there. So I had to like hoist her. And I know that her nurse felt the exact same way because she came in and she was like, they had her oxygen, like the water. They didn't fill it at all. It was all dried out and like crusty inside of there. Like they literally just were not taking care of her at all. Like she died from COVID neglect to jack numbers. Like that's the only explanation that I have for it. And I just couldn't be a part of it anymore. Like, and I remember calling, like, I was done. I couldn't, how can I be a part of that? Like my whole life, all I wanted to do was help people before they died. Like I'm somebody who's been sick for so long and I know how bad it sucks to be sick. And I also know how over time people around you get so numb to it that like, it's not that they like don't care, but you know what I mean? Like those people deserve so much love and care at the end. Like so all of the love, all of the care, all of the attention and anything they want. They paid their dues, like anything they want. And then I remember you going. So do you what you go from there? Because that was my experience with working with you. Like that was my big one that made me, that was my also like my wake up moment where I was like, oh, okie dokie, I see what we're doing here.
Right. So like after that, I ended up transferring to a sister facility, and I was only there a couple months before I was like, no, I'm not doing this because just the director there and the management there was just absolutely awful. And I looked at my husband, I'm like, if I'm gonna continue in this line of work, I gotta do something else. I have to go where people actually care about the people we're taking care of. So I ended up applying.
I don't know, Nat, because as far as I know, I'm one of the only ones that did. It's not that they weren't allowed to, it's that nobody would.
Right. And for me, the reason I went into long-term care is because I wanted to make sure that people were actually in a good position at the end of their life, because you hear all the horror stories and you don't know, if it's the people in the facility, if it's families. So just for me, I wanted to be a part of making a difference with that. And just where we worked, I was like, I don't feel like I'm doing what I should be doing. So I ended up applying to a hospital, and the position I applied for, they call it a patient care technician, which is just a fancy term for a CNA that can do some extra stuff that regular CNAs can't do. So I ended up applying up there, got the job, and I went into oncology. It's inpatient oncology, where you have people who come in with just medical issues that are on chemotherapy and all sorts of stuff. So and started working. Guess what? They threw me in the COVID unit. And,
yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, for sure.
Yeah, I know. It's like oncology to respiratory. It's like, okay, one has nothing to do with the other outside of the fact that they're both dying,
Right, that they both might die at some point here. That's it.
Yeah. So, and it was like, at first, I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. We had 2 COVID units. So we had like a really intensive care COVID unit that was in the cardiovascular unit. They had kind of split that in half because they had the equipment for, like intubating people and stuff like that. And then where we were at, it was like the less severe people who were having issues with their oxygen levels, but they weren't to the point where, hey, we have to sedate you and, stick a tube down your throat. So when I started there, it seemed like it was going pretty well. And then they closed down that section of our unit, opened up the oncology wing again. So things started to get back to normal. And then we had that second wave. And that's when I just saw everything just go whoop down. They sent me every other shift down to the intensive care COVID unit we had. And let me tell you.
Wait. While you were working, were you working? Okay. So every other week they would send you down to the COVID ICU.
Shift. So
every other shift.
Yeah, because.
And then where were you for your other shifts?
I was supposed to be in an oncology wing. So they would float me because they were so short-staffed.
Between COVID and oncology?
Yeah, they'd float you just about anywhere. I mean, I floated.
But come on, like, why would they float you between COVID ICU and oncology?
They floated me between ICU, like ICU,
with you carrying it though. Like
they have nothing to do with each other.
Well, not only do they not have anything to do with each other, but what I'm saying is like, if this, I mean, it's supposed to be like so infectious, so dangerous. Like we have to protect the chronically ill and the elderly. Yep. So if you're going down to COVID ICU and then in the morning going into oncology, they don't know if you are not carrying COVID from the freaking ICU.
I know. Their thing was, well, you know, PPE properly, you'll be fine. But now they're telling you if you're not vaccinated, you can't even go into the hospital. So, you know, explain that logic to me. I mean, we didn't even have proper PPE. We didn't have proper, like we were reusing N95s. We were reusing all of our PPE because they didn't even have it. So we're, you know, they send me down there constantly. And it got to the point where I'm like, you know, am I actually on the floor I'm supposed to be on? You know, you guys keep sending me down here. And it was just, it just the management wasn't making any sense. It's like nobody knew what they were supposed to be doing. And they just kind of made a lot of stuff up as they went along, which to me in a hospital is just absolutely ridiculous.
Were you using the same PPE between the two units?
No, we used if we had like multiple shifts, like a lot of us were doing doubles, we'd reuse the PPE. We wouldn't use it between units, but it would stay like in that unit. Essentially like when our unit was being used as the COVID unit, when we were coming in, we'd literally just put the N95s in a paper bag and just put our name on it, and we'd reuse them because we didn't have any. And to me, it's like, okay, it's on the outside of that. I'm sticking it in a bag where everything just kind of, you know, sticks together. So that makes sense. And,
now, did you ever contract COVID or? I
had COVID twice. So I had both like the variants, but it wasn't from anything that had to do with being at the hospital. The first time I had COVID was, it was right after I had left long-term care, kind of in between long-term care and going to the hospital. And then the second time I got it was after I had already quit from the hospital because my mom had gotten it. So
so you had gone through the pandemic. So you had gone through the pandemic reusing your PPE, helping all of these different patients, not getting it, and then getting it when you weren't there.
Yeah. Make it make sense, essentially. And then we just, when, like the things I saw in the COVID unit, I mean, to me, it's like, I'm sitting there going, I can't do anything because, you know, like Kat was explaining, you know, we have a scope of practice for each level. And so, you know, I can't administer medication to make these people better. I can't tell the doctors what to do. Like, they're not even going to listen to me. They're going to listen to our lead nurses and stuff. And I'm just sitting here and I'm watching people die going, what are you doing? you're not doing anything for them. You're not doing everything you can. And, I'm going to my supervisors and they're going to the doctors. And it's like, nobody had any idea what to do. I don't think they even have an idea now. And just the extreme measures that they went to with some of these things. It's like, was the extreme measures necessary? Did they even help? Or did they actually hinder the progress this person could have been making on their own, as opposed to, sedating them and putting tubes down their throat that, can destroy their lungs. It's not going to help them actually breathe at that point. It's just literally keeping somebody alive for their own purpose, whatever that is.
When
So
COVID,
it's extremely frustrating.
when COVID first came out, did you buy into the hype and the hysteria of it?
I didn't buy into the hysteria of it. I knew that it was something that I really didn't want to see people get, especially the elderly. That's who I really was concerned about. I wasn't concerned for myself, and I'm a cancer survivor. It's been 5 years since I had cancer. I've got kids. Both my girls had COVID when we did. They were fine. I mean, my youngest she was a month old, I think, when she contracted COVID the first time. And I was never really concerned about us. I was concerned about, like my grandparents and those around me that, were elderly and reaching the end of their life, because, they can get all sorts of stuff. They can get the flu and die from it. So that was more my concern.
Now, a lot of questions that get asked, and maybe you can answer this, maybe you can't. If you can't, that's fine. Why didn't we have contamination bags to throw away items like PPE, masks, or whatever?
I don't think we had contamination bags because it wasn't a priority. A lot of the stuff that, like a lot of the steps that were skipped with COVID, I mean, I've always said that, COVID should have been handled differently. It's not even necessarily that we did too much or too little. It's just different measures should have been taken from the beginning. And I just don't think that was ever a priority, because I mean, think about what's happened with like long-term care facilities at the beginning of COVID. They were just sending people with COVID into the facilities. I mean, I don't think really a lot of people at the beginning really cared about what was going on.
Oh yeah, they were giving Emmy awards to the New York mayor, or governor.
Yeah.
Governor, because
that wasn't a conspiracy theory.
What's that?
That wasn't a conspiracy theory that people were being sent in to long care.
No, it absolutely happened.
That's what we get called when we call it out. We get called conspiracy theories, so that never happened.
No, it's actually I mean, anybody who actually worked in these long-term care facilities and nursing homes and stuff, like I've talked to tons of people. It was a thing. It was actually a thing.
Did they say why?
They said containment, because they figured it was already in the long-term care facilities, which, yeah, that totally makes sense.
So they guessed on that it was in the long-term care facilities. They didn't know for a fact, but even still, it still wouldn't make sense to bring in more sickness to long care that are already not in the best of health.
No, it doesn't make sense. And my personal opinion, take it or leave it. They figured those people were going to die anyways.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. I really don't mean to laugh. The reason why I'm laughing is because there's, I guess, half of Americans that think that this is okay.
Yes.
No, it's definitely not.
That's what's like so jarring.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, text.
Well, I mean, it's you see it on TikTok. I mean, we get called conspiracy theories when we speak out against this and whatnot, and not buying into the hysteria, and so we're not sensitive to people, and we're selfish and all this other stuff. But seeing someone like yourself, Lena, that has lived through all of this, like, what could have been some things that could have been handled different?
They should have stopped telling people to stay away from each other. and like, because that didn't help. Literally, there is such a large percentage of people that died from isolation, just not being around people. I mean, they talk about laughter being the best medicine, and spending time with your family and stuff. And a lot of the people that got COVID, there really wasn't anything you could do about it. They're going to get it no matter what. Like, isolating people isn't going to help anything. And by not allowing their families to come in, these people had less of a chance of surviving this because they're lonely. They're in a strange place. They have no idea who the people are around them. There's no comfort in it. And just so much fear that was put into people. I mean, for us at the hospital and in long-term care, it was constant, like every day, like, oh my gosh, if this happens, everybody's going to die. And that really wasn't the case. And a lot of us just, I mean, you'll hear me talk about this, and me and my husband joke about it. I mean, we kind of became dead inside. We're so desensitized to it that a lot of people think we just don't care anymore. It's just the things we have seen. My husband's a veteran. I've seen more people die than he has because of people's stupidity.
Wow. So, I mean, what you're speaking on is scientific. I mean, but then we're told to trust science and do everything that they told us to do scientifically. But what you're speaking on as far as isolation goes is part of science.
Yeah, it's so detrimental for people. I mean, like, human contact is something that's really important. And they constantly told us, like, minimal contact. And I know me and my coworkers being in the hospital, we're like, we're not going to sit there and watch somebody die without giving them a hug or caring about them. Like, I don't care if I'm wearing, all of this gear. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to comfort this person, because if they're going to die, at least they're going to have somebody here that they know cares about them. And sadly, not everybody's like that. A lot of people were like, oh, you've got the Black Plague, you're going to kill everybody. And
well, no, now we're seeing all across the country these vaccinated nurses that are not caring for patients because they're not vaccinated.
Exactly.
And they're saying, well, you kind of deserve it. Have a good day. Hope you die. Bye.
Yeah. I have coworkers that when I started talking about this, they were completely like, oh, you don't believe in the science. And I'm like, oh, wait, hold on a second. We were in the same rooms. We saw the reactions. We saw people coming in with the reactions from the vaccine when it first came out. I mean, it was labeled on their chart, COVID-19 vaccine reaction. And it's like, we saw this. Now you're mad at me because I don't agree with your stance on it. And I don't even tell people, you want to get vaccinated, go right ahead. I have family that's been vaccinated. And you know what? That's great for them. I'm not getting vaccinated. I'm a cancer survivor. I have a bad immune system. And you know what? I went through the entire pandemic without a vaccine, and I'm alive. I'm fine. I'm not worried about me. If you're worried about you and your family, you do you. That's fine. I have no problem with that. Yeah. My problem is when people start quoting science to me and telling me my experiences are not valid, because I have seen things that literally will turn people's faces just white. I mean, just horrific experiences with COVID. And it's not even because of the disease itself. It's because of the decisions and lack of caring coming from the people who are dealing with the disease.
Wow. Now, just maybe, I guess, for a little bit of shock factor, people, what is like something that would turn? What's one of the examples that would turn our faces, if you can speak about it?
I remember that there was an individual down in the more intensive care unit, and there's not as much you can do when people are sedated like that, as like care wise. I mean, they're pretty much on a schedule. They can't do anything, so it's not like you can take them to the bathroom or walk them around the unit or anything. And I remember just talking to the nurses taking care of them, because they wouldn't even let PCTs like myself like really do anything with them, because that's medication, that's kind of outside of us. But I remember talking to them. They're like, yeah, he's probably gonna die. Oh well. And I'm like, oh well, this is a person. This is a person, not
So murderers.
like,
so they're murderers.
Yeah, they're just like,
Call it what it is. Exactly.
They're murderers. They're murdering people.
and
Legally
the
murdering
doctors
people.
weren't doing anything. That's what got me. And they'd be like, well, what is there for us to do? And I'm like, oh, you're back. I'm like, what you can do is start figuring out what's working. You've had enough people here to look at the science and say, okay, this works, this doesn't. Let's not do this. But they kept doing the things that weren't working. And it's like, how does that make any sense that we continue to do things that just aren't helping people?
Do you believe some of this was done on purpose?
I don't know. I mean, to me, it's
Good answer.
coincidental that it wouldn't have been done on purpose in certain areas and certain degrees. I don't think on a personal level, you know, everybody like my coworkers and all that would have personally set out to allow any harm to somebody. But I do believe that people can be manipulated by the companies they work for and not even realize it, because we don't make those standards that they establish in hospitals. I mean, that comes from higher up people that don't even see these people. I mean, we used to talk about how like our higher ups, they wouldn't even come into the hospital during COVID, let alone go into the unit and actually see.
Of course
what's going on.
I was gonna say, even when me and you worked together, how often were the higher ups
But
really
never.
in there? And the
Never. I
person
don't
that
even think
was
I
our
met
higher
anyone
up, we
here. I
had
worked
more
there.
medical training than her.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Sorry, that came out loud.
Dude, Natalie's like threatening to throw people out and stuff. Like, good Lord, Nat, can't wrench lives. Man, easy baddies here. Sorry, I went away for a while, so I missed a lot.
It's all right. We were just kind of talking about how just how people have gotten to the point where they don't care in hospitals anymore. I mean, they just don't.
So when you were working, were you ever working like with patients that were being intubated or
Oh yeah.
So in your opinion, did you ever feel that they were skipping over steps to intubate before they would intubate that typically would? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Usually when and I'm not like 100% like I can explain the whole thing for you, but from my experience, usually before they do that, you know, somebody has to be on oxygen for a certain amount of time. They have to be on a BiPAP, which BiPAP is kind of it's a type of ventilator, but it's not something that you have to sedate somebody for. You can just stick it on their face, you can remove it. I literally had to sit in rooms with people because they were out of it and they just keep taking it off. So like you're supposed to take those steps initially, and even once they put people on a ventilator, it's not necessarily supposed to be 100% on a ventilator for you to be able to breathe. I mean, there are degrees, but they would go from like somebody satting at like 85 and then they're like, oh, 100% vent. And it's like, what?
Yep, at 85.
It's like, what?
Oh,
what are you talking about? I've seen people walking around at 85%. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, you can have pneumonia and be at 85% in your bed watching a movie.
Yep.
Do you think it was some of the protocols that was also killing people?
I do believe because some of the protocols just they went against what we were taught prior to all this. I mean, as a CNA, the training I did, they pretty much tell you, you know, do everything you can and then go up to the next step and then go up to the next step. And there's a ladder you kind of go up. And just the skipping.
You have to exhaust
steps,
all options.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, like, I know that they talk about a lot of things being the doctor's faults, but let me give you some inside information into a hospital. 90% of the decisions made are the nurses because they're there. Yeah. So it is our nurses who really need to be held accountable for just going, oh my gosh, this person's dying, we got to do this now, or not doing anything at all, because that happened a lot too. I'd watch people and I'd be like, maybe we should, you know, help them. And they're like, oh no.
Well, yeah, and you couldn't speak out about it. You couldn't question any of the protocol at all whatsoever. And I think that that's kind of how I think that's they're going to try to do that spin at some point on nurses. Like, look at what they're already. So, like, I get what you're saying. Like, I agree with you. I think that way more nurses should have opened up their mouths way faster than what they did. But then at the same time, like you said, it's like so much pressure from higher up, and this is the protocol, and we're talking directly with the CDC, and we know more than you do, and this is what we're doing.
Hey,
So
Kat,
then they would make you kind of question yourself.
Can you shed some light on kind of what pressure you're speaking of whenever you say pressure was being put on you from higher ups?
Oh my goodness. Like we had meetings constantly where like, we'd bring concerns to our nurse managers because they were essentially the people between us and like the higher ups of the hospital. And, I gotta say, like our nurse manager, she was great, but then she left. That was our issue. You know, she left, and then we had like an interim one who was not great.
Right.
And so she would tell us, you know, okay, we really got to do this, and we really got to do that. And you got to make sure that you guys are, you know, giving people masks, and you got to make sure you're doing this, and you got to make sure you're doing that. But then other things were falling to the wayside that it really, I mean, they never pressured us to help the individual. It was always, to me, it was always like
PR
for the hospital, not for the patients. So like,
or like if we would go out and smoke, like we had like a little secret smoking place, right, where you'd go down in the back and you'd wrap around, and we'd go out there and smoke, and it was all enclosed in. We started getting like yelled at for not wearing our masks when we went out to smoke.
Like that makes sense.
They were really cool with the fact that like one of my residents had a stack full of diapers underneath his bed.
Right.
Because they were just taking them off. And this, I mean, this man's like important, like who he was before he got Parkinson's, like very wealthy man, very prominent in his industry and whatever. So it's kind of like, could you imagine, could you imagine the state run? Like I didn't work at a state run. I did a rotation in a state, like a Medicaid facility.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing what I saw just in the short stint that I was there pre-COVID, like not even during COVID. It was so sad. I could not imagine what happened to those facilities. And when Gretch did like her nursing home numbers, she lied because she only surveyed like X amount. I don't know the exact number, X amount of the nursing homes when there was double that. Right. So based on her numbers that she gave for the ones that she allowed us to see, that would put our death rate at over 80% was from nursing homes in Michigan.
Right. Yeah. And I had family that they worked in state-run nursing homes.
Is Ant having technical difficulty? What happened? Like his name's gone.
Yeah.
Everything's gone. Oh, no.
Were respiratory therapists used for input by chance? Do y'all know?
Our respiratory therapists were non-existent. Like, I'll be honest with you, I probably saw them like 5 times in the year I worked there.
Because they were so busy, or just?
I don't know. I really don't know. We really don't know where they were. And like, they'd have like the respiratory therapist assistants come in and they'd work with people. But like respiratory therapy really didn't go into our COVID units nearly as often as you'd think they would. It was kind of like, it was like phlebotomy. Phlebotomy never came in there, ever. The nurses have to draw their own labs, and they don't even know how to do that half the time. And we
oh my God,
we had people that would just refuse to come into the units, and I'm kind of like, you know, if I'm being sent from a unit that doesn't even know how to do this, and you guys are in this unit and you're refusing to come here, like, what am I doing here? You need to be in here doing your job. But I was almost never on my own floor. Like, more than half of the time I was on a different floor because we were so short-staffed. And at the time, I really didn't realize it. But once I actually start talking to people, they're like, well, we're short-staffed because people don't want to deal with this anymore. People don't want to deal with the decisions being made because they started feeling like all these deaths were their fault. and the depression was insane. Like the few coworkers that I had that, you know, I really, really liked to be around, like they were just miserable. We came into work every day just absolutely miserable. And a lot of people told me, they're like, you know, you're really positive and we really, really like that. But why are you so positive? And
no, this girl is like crazy positive. Like everybody's best friend. Every room that she goes into, she's like, hi, we're best friends now, just so you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but like I was just going home crying like my last couple of weeks because I'm like, I'm a part of this.
Right.
And like, this is bad. This is really, really bad.
Yeah. And for me, like, you know, people would ask me and I'm like, you know, pretty much Jesus in my life, because there's nothing else that's positive in this circumstance. Like, you guys are miserable. The patients are miserable. Like, there's really nothing to be positive about in these circumstances, you know, outside of my own personal life. And it's really hard to walk into that every single day and, you know, just kind of deal with it. And it actually got to the point, like I said, I was there just under a year. I became senior PCT on the floor half the time I was there because people were just leaving. And I actually looked
in a year,
less than a year, like after 8 months. So I'm sitting there and
I mean, congratulations. Like, that's awesome. And you are a good worker. I mean, like, I don't want anybody thinking that she's not a good worker, but that's like not heard of.
That's not enough experience.
No.
Like, I was being asked questions by the new workers and I'm like, yeah, I haven't been here long enough for that. You might want to go ask one of the nurses because I don't know.
Do you remember how fun it was though before COVID? How much like
with residents, yes. Residents, I loved
not the other biatches that we worked with.
Yeah.
But oh my God, you guys think that TikTok is bad? Going out again like with nursing staff of any shape or form, it's high school all over again.
It
TikTok is
is.
bad.
I mean, it's
what?
TikTok is bad.
No, it's a walk in the park. I never get violated.
I just saw another video today. Sorry, Lena. I'm gonna say one thing real quick. Yeah, I just saw another video today. Somebody's mad because somebody said is putting stuff in their bio saying banned at X amount of
that was
K
Pribs.
followers.
That was Pribs.
Yeah, it was Pribs' video.
Another one pressed. Okay.
No, what? You don't have that in your bio. What are you worried about?
I sure the fuck do. I took great pride in almost 800K. I give zero fucks about that. Sorry, Pribs. It's like what we put in our bios. Like,
but at the same time, though, like,
how about everybody worry about their own fucking profiles, and I'll worry about my motherfucking profile until you pay my fucking bills. Then we could talk about what we gonna put in my motherfucking.
Well,
profile.
we could say the same thing though, like.
So
don't worry about it.
Must be Team Pribsy then. Is that what I'm getting?
Whoa. First of all, I don't do team back. Am I friends with her outside of TikTok? Yeah, absolutely. She's an amazing
But now it's another person that found something else to bitch about other people's TikToks.
Hold on a second. Did I have that in my bio at one point? Yes. I did have banned at 200K in my bio at one point. Was I offended by the video? No, not really. Like, that's where
I'm not offended by the video. I'm offended that people think that they can determine and drive what other people put in their fucking bios.
I can see your aggression I can see your feelings on that as well.
It's like my pill box of blue pills is growing by the day.
Oh, would you stop?
It's so true because conservatives are so fucking pressed about everything.
I know.
Everything.
But I think that this one we might be reading a little bit too much into, and maybe I'm biased. I'm not team anybody. I'm just unbothered by the video. That's all. Like, it didn't bother me. So I don't know, babes. Like, I could see how it would bother somebody, but at the same time, like, who cares? I know that you're not like that. I know that you're not somebody that would put that in your bio for that reason. And everybody knows that. Now, you also can't say that some people like to lie about what their numbers were at when they say that they came back. We've also seen that where it's like banned at 700K. Like, whatever, Bobby, I fucking followed you. You were only at like 100.
Lena's like, I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
No,
Sorry,
she's
girl.
on TikTok.
Okay.
I'm on TikTok, yeah.
She's on the ticky-tacky a little bit. But like, I don't know. Like, I'm impartial to it, I guess. I'm not upset about it. I don't feel any type of way about it. I'm more upset at like the fake patriot bullshit that's going on around it than that. And I think maybe that video on top of the fake patriot shit probably set you over the edge more because we've been dealing with that on the app for the last like 2 weeks straight, bombarded.
Right. And it's usually the people that are making videos like that, like the petty videos about talking about like other, like that are not having Lena on, that are not having people who've been fired from medical careers on their like Instagram lives, that are not like having these.
Right. But babe, if you know that you're not like that, so don't let it.
Well, but it's because I'm friends with other people that do.
I feel like we're having therapy now.
Huh?
I feel like we're like doing like full therapy sessions. Like we're talking about demons from nursing and TikTok now. I'm here for it.
Right. So sorry. So here we go.
No, I'm impartial to it. I don't know. I mean, if you ask me right now, my personal, I wasn't bothered by the video. I saw it. I did. It was sent to me like, oh my God. And I'm like.
And I just scrolled. I didn't comment. I do what everybody else should do when they don't like videos.
Right. And you know that like you guys have met outside the app and she also knows that you're not like that. So I don't think it was geared towards me. That's not what I'm saying. But like, it's just another petty bullshit video that we're talking about. On top of all the other ones that you're already dealing with.
Right. And like, girl, do something else. Like, I don't know, do something else.
I know I get that you're frustrated and I understand your frustration because I'm annoyed with it too.
Well, because now I'm going to call out the people who have been calling out fake patriots for actually not being real patriots. So now like, I'm going to start calling people out now. So I'm going to hold them to the same standard that they're holding everybody else.
I'm here for that one.
And I'm going to fucking make sure her ass gets on the fucking app and gets out on fucking Instagram. And I want her to have real fucking people on and talk to real motherfuckers.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Lindsay. I don't want her to
she's out there doing shit though.
Okay, well, good for her then. So good for her then. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying that I'm not Team Ant. I didn't know that this was like an Ant and Pribsy ordeal.
It's not.
It's not because it's Prib
today.
So. I think you're annoyed by all the other shit on top of it. I think you're just annoyed with all of them, and that's fine because I'm fucking annoyed with all of them. I'm annoyed. I mean, I'm annoyed with myself that like I can't get my whole ass voice out anymore. So now I'm just back to doing
Batty. Like then you see people like Batty gone, and it's because of probably fucking conservatives that are pissed off that Batty's Batty.
No, I know. And that's why I'm saying like I'm impartial, but it doesn't mean that like I don't totally see where the hell you're coming from because I'm over it as well. Like just because my boiling point wasn't the same person, my boiling point was JF fucking G.
Shannon,
and that was one of my friends. Ant's fine. Like Ant doesn't need to relax. I get that. I
really don't.
Goodness, our shows are never quite like this. I'm so sorry. But like listen, I want to make it real clear here that just because that wasn't my boiling point doesn't mean that I don't understand how you feel, because I do. I had a boiling point over someone that we were all friends with as well, because when you're constantly trying to get your voice out there and you're constantly trying to do something and you have a whole bunch of people that want to tell you to basically shut the fuck up or make you mad or make you feel a type of way to where you don't create what you need to create or get your voice out there the way that you need to. Your boiling point was just a different boiling point, but it's valid.
Because I was getting sent this video now. So that's why I left for a minute and I came back heated. So
you're getting bombarded with it, which like I really wish that people would kind of stop doing that shit too, you know, like obsessively sending videos. Like we see it, you guys, like they tag us most of the time.
Right.
So, but no, you're boiling like just because like I said, I love her and I love you and I understand how you feel 100%. Your feelings are valid because you've reached a boiling point, and I get
yeah. So like the new Ant though is gonna start calling these people out, and they never wanted me to go for them, but now when Ant goes for them, they're fucking gonna get destroyed. So just so everybody knows,
you guys broke Ant.
When y'all come for me, I will fucking destroy you. Moving on.
Yeah.
I'm done. Like with this whole conservative movement, I'm done.
I know.
I'm done. I will destroy them. Period. So we're moving forward, Lena. Thank you. I'm so sorry about that.
You're good. You know, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. Like I tell people, you know what? Like everybody has their opinion of stuff. We got to be able to talk about it without everybody telling us to shut up. I mean, that's my big issue. Everybody should be able to voice their opinion and determine their own stance on something without somebody being like, hey, shut it. Because that's what this is about. Like our big thing, you know, everybody's fighting about. We just want to be able to say like, hey, this is what I believe. This is how I feel about this. And everybody trying to shut us up. That's the problem. That's really the enemy, is people just, you know, trying to censor everything.
On any level.
Yeah. It doesn't matter which side you're on, right, left, whatever, you know, nobody should be censoring anybody.
No.
Right.
Your boiling point is 100% understandable. And I hope that you don't think that because I'm not on anybody's team. You know that. Don't ever say that.
You know, for the better part of a year, that anytime there's been an argument or whatever, what side did I take?
I do. And you stay out of it completely and you never get involved. And that was our, like, at one point I thought that was our job, was just to kind of protect you from it. Like, I didn't ever want that shit coming your way.
Right.
But
and I'm just like, to the point where I'm like, gloves off, girl, meet me out back. Like, I'm ready. Like, and it's like, it's so sad that I have to do that. But like, we have this whistleblower that's about to censor conservatives even fucking more. And conservatives want to continue to cancel out conservatives for what? For their own personal, it doesn't even make sense, actually. I can't even find a reason for it.
I know.
And like, I just thought that her video was unnecessary because she's kind of, it might not have been about me, and I really don't care if it was or not, but like, it could have been about other conservative creators. But like, what sweat off her tits is that? Like, who gives a fuck if somebody wants to somebody could say, I like to eat booty in their bio, and it's no sweat off of my back, your back, her back, like anybody's back. So like, to me, it's petty for a video like that to be made geared toward other patriots. It's a fake patriot to me. That's a fake fucking patriot. In my opinion.
Your frustration level. I understand where you are coming from. Your frustrations are valid.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. Can I ask Lena a couple more questions before we're done?
Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to know, like, because I'm always curious about this because of how I feel now. Like, has this changed your mind about, like, how do you feel about medicine now going forward? Like,
I guess I kind of went the opposite route of a lot of people. Like, I get a lot of nurses, a lot of CNAs, doctors, they're all hanging up their stethoscope. But you know what? Like, I don't believe in running from a fight. I'm going back to college and I'm getting my nurse practitioner degree, and I'm going to tell them, you know what? You want to come at us? You want to cause some problems with us? You want to tell us what we can and can't do? I'll bring my own practice, and then you can tell me what I can.
Yeah, I'm actually looking. I wasn't going to finish my LPN. I was done, but now I kind of, I don't know. It's making me want to.
I'm not going to have somebody tell me that I cannot take care of people the way that I morally, justly know that they should be taken care of. I'm not going to sit back and let somebody determine who I should be in my life because they want to tell everybody, you know, oh, you got to do it this way. No, that's not happening. And here's a little secret for you. I'm not the only one. There's an entire section of the medical industry that is now taking it to private practices, and they are doing things their own way. They're not listening to the government. They're not accepting government insurance anymore because they're not going to be told what they can and can't do.
Yep. I know. I was thinking that the other day because I was like, well, wait. If all the good ones go,
We're not
like,
going
because
anywhere.
in my head, I'm still like, who's going to take care? Oh, shit, guys. Like, we can't all go. Like, if we all go, who's going to be there? You know what I mean? And as far as I know, the facility that we used to work for isn't requiring them. But there are multiple that I've looked at around the area where I call and I'm like, are you guys requiring? And they're like, no, we're a private facility. We don't have to.
Right.
So like private, like just because Biden said, you know, long-term care workers have to, it only falls if you're working in a facility that is covered by like Medicaid and stuff like that.
Right. And the hospital I worked for, that was definitely not anything like private or anything. You know, that was definitely, you know, had state funding and all that. And at the point I had left, they were not requiring it, but it had gotten to the point where people were so petty about it. They just go around asking, are you vaccinated? Are you vaccinated? I finally told them, I'm like, you know what? Stop asking me this question because I don't work here to make you comfortable about your personal life. I work here to take care of my patients.
Right.
So mind your business, girl.
Who don't care. Who literally don't care.
My patients never asked me if I was vaccinated. I never had one patient ask me.
No, and like, look at what we did to them, dude. Like, we locked them in their freaking rooms. We didn't allow anybody to come and visit them. They couldn't go to music class. They couldn't go to their dance classes. They couldn't do anything. Most of them had no clue what the hell was going on. And every single dementia patient, it was like sundowners 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They were constantly scared, constantly fucking crying, constantly just in fear all the time.
I had a patient in the COVID unit. This particular patient, I actually personally knew. I knew the family. And let me tell you, when this individual's son called me up crying on the phone because he could not see his mother, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you because I can't. And they're like, you are the only person. You are the only person that can go in there and actually, you know, be like, hey, it's going to be okay because we can't do it. And I just kind of sat back and I went, oh my gosh. And then the nurse for this woman was like, oh my gosh, their sons keep calling me and all this. And I'm like, are you kidding me? They can't be here. So you and I are the only means of which they can actually, you know what's going on. And you're bothered by them calling? Like, what kind of universe? Like, did we slip into an alternate universe where medicine is about us as opposed to them?
Apparently. And Ninja Nurse, that's great. Because you're right. Like, I mean, we should just go take it back then. Yeah. Just go work at private practices. Refuse to work for anything that's, you know, I mean, and that's how I am. Like, I'm not getting it because it's not that I'm not getting it to be defiant. I'm not getting it because I'm not getting it for my own reasons that has nothing to do with politics at all whatsoever.
Right.
Because really, if we're being technical, if I was a big, you know, massive, like, cult member Trump person, I would have been first in line to get the Trump vaccine that he came out with, that he pushed, that he emergency distributed, not Joe Biden.
Right.
But it's like, how long do you think that these like big hospitals are going to be able to stay open anymore if people aren't going in them?
That's the idea. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I can tell you right now, they want to be able to control your health care and how much like you can get. You know, you don't get vaccinated or you do get vaccinated. We're going to tell you exactly what you can have done. And I know this because I saw the protocols that were being implicated before I left. And I'm like, you guys literally just want to tell people, you know, oh, you're 85 and you want to get this surgery? Nope, you can't because you're too high risk.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what they want to be able to tell people.
Well, I mean, they're still doing it. Like, I've been trying to get a surgery since COVID round 1. And whenever we get close to getting it approved, it's like, oh, well, you're not vaccinated. Oh.
Right.
Like, what the fuck does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Like, absolutely, I can shut the fuck up. Like, I just want to scream, like, shut up, like, every single time, but like they're still doing that with surgeries where they're like, oh yeah, probably not the best idea with COVID.
Right. I mean, like when we were working in the facility together, how long did they try pushing out the surgery that I had to have because of COVID and all that? And it was literally like I could have died if they pushed it any further.
Yeah. Well, because that's when I started getting sick when we were working together, was like, I remember being like, yeah, I need to get back into the doctors. And I had already lost so much weight before I started working there. And then it was like, I remember when I came back, like, because my first chunk of leave, I came back. And it was like I had to swap all my clothes out and everything else. And like even at work, they were like, oh, well, it's understandable though. It's understandable though. And I'm like, you guys work with me every day and you're in the healthcare field. You're encouraging me to basically neglect patients and then telling me that it's okay that, yeah, you're fine.
Right.
You can work, you know, a 14-hour for sure. Like you can work like 7 days in a row, but we'll really only put you on the actual schedule for 5 so that we can lie and carry it over later and not screw up the system on how many hours you worked that week. And it was all just horrible.
I got asked multiple times to work doubles, and like because literally they wouldn't even have any PCTs at night, like no, none. And I'd look at my coworkers and I'd be like, okay, I'm working today, I'm working tonight, and I'm working tomorrow, which means I'm not leaving here.
Right.
And you guys don't work tomorrow. Why am I the only one working? And because they're pretty much like, well, we did our time. We're going home.
In the middle of a pandemic.
Yep. Because people have become so centered on their own stuff going on that they forget that everybody else around them has lives too.
So if you had a piece of advice, we got to end it on a high note. We can't talk about like Gretchen's Whitmer's death toll for an hour,
right?
And not end it somewhat positive. So say something positive, girl. Like where do we go? Where do we go from here? How do we make it better? What do you do for advice for people who are still like in medical?
Don't walk away. Stop walking away. Because you know what? When you quit, that is when they win. It's not when they fire you, because you can go in and legally you got a case if they fire you. You can stand up and say, no, I refuse. People need to stop giving up. They need to stand up and say, no, we're going to take this back. And there are enough people that I have seen that are willing to do that I believe if people would just have that information, if they knew that they had something to stand behind, they could go, okay, we're going to stand behind you guys, not just the nurses and the healthcare workers that are leaving. Don't just stand behind them, but stand behind the ones that are willing to stay and change it, because there are a lot of us out there that are going, we're saying, you know what? I will do it myself because you're not going to.
I love that. But make sure that you're going to a private facility.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because anything that's state funded right now is going to be, it's just going to be messed up. And pretty much. Yeah.
And engineers, start calling. I've called places around by me and been really shocked at how many places told me that they weren't requiring to be vaccinated, that we're actually paying more than what I was making previously. So now if I can get my school district to agree with our tyrannical governor and stop masking my children, even now that the governor is saying stop doing it, hopefully I can get my butt back to work.
Right.
But yeah, there's lots of places and the information isn't there for you. You're under this rouge that you can only work if you're vaccinated, and it's not true.
No, there are a lot of places that are just, they got to remember that not everybody in the healthcare field is like, hey, pro jab, or completely like, okay, I'm just leaving. Like there are people in the middle that are like, well, I still want to do my job, but I'm not going to necessarily go this route.
Right. And then how can we find you on the TikTok?
So I'm under Lena Bobina Nichols. I don't have a bunch of followers, but you know what? That's all right, because I go out there and I tell people about what goes on with my experiences. And then I talk about my faith. So it's just a little bit of sprinkle, everything about me.
That's what we love. So you guys can check her out over on the TikTok and yeah, Tex. Oh wait, don't we have announcements for next week, Tex? Are we doing the switch or no?
Oh, to Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Yeah, isn't that our new schedule going forward?
Yes.
So going forward next week, guys, we are switching over to Tuesdays and Thursdays. It will no longer be
Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Wednesdays and Tuesdays.
Yes.
It'll be the days that I think we're on anyways, so this totally works out beautifully. Right, Aunt? And then we get Wednesdays off now.
Correct.
Is there anything that can you unmute yourself? Is there anything that you want to say before we go?
Lena, thank you so much for coming on today.
And then, Aunt, can you explain to people how mentally draining it is to do what you do and how maybe to be a little bit more mindful of what you're going through over there on social media before we go? Because I don't want you to feel like you're not getting like a platform saying this, because now it's bothering me a little bit, to be honest with you. Like
Well, people just think that like I'm walking around and just being cutesy and shit, but like I'm actually trying to like book guests for like podcasts to get people's voices out there and connected to other voices. So like this was my point before, like just because I don't go to a fucking Trump rally or your January 6th event doesn't make me more or less of a conservative or a patriot for you. And I know Tex has done some videos saying, is there like a committee or something? Like, at what point are these people gonna knock themselves down a notch and be like, okay, let me not focus on what everybody else's profile looks like and what they're doing, and how can I make my personal voice and profile effective for me? Like, whatever they may be. I mean, shit, if you create coloring books for people who have mental health issues because of the pandemic, girl, I'll send you a box of 36.
That's a really good idea, actually.
That has actually just came to me.
That's going to be trademarked later, so I don't want to see none of you bitches in the comment section doing it.
But, I mean, like, and then having to fight like far left liberals all day and being told that I'm going to be gutted and raped and I should be killed and me and my husband are worthy.
You can go at any time. Like, okay. I don't want you to feel okay. I didn't know if you had like somewhere to be because it was going a little bit over, but I want you to keep going.
I'm going to.
You guys have a good night. I'll let you know.
And it's like, oh, I'm going to.
Yeah, we're gonna go
I got kids. I gotta take care of my kids.
No, that's why I wanted to give you an out after the
Thank
hour.
you,
I love you. Call me later. Well, we'll catch up soon.
I will. Bye.
Bye, sweetheart.
And so I
just didn't want to make her feel
obligated. No.
And it's always a little bit awkward when there's a third person on too.
I know.
So I don't want you to feel like I was cutting you short at all.
I'm sorry that was happening then. Like I started getting this video and I'm like, what is this now? And so like, that's what I mean. Like I've been battling and I'm not going to cry anymore because like I'm done crying because crying doesn't do anything. I'm just going to fuck people up at this point. So like if I have to battle liberals and BLM and Antifa and putting us on lists and do this for the past, fucking 3, 4, 5 years, and now I gotta fight my own people, bitch, it's fucking on. Like I'm ready to take that shit out on you. Because why? Like stop. Fucking stop. If you want to truly make a difference, then figure out a fucking way to make a difference, bitch. Buy a fucking binder, write shit down. I don't know, call me. I'll help you figure out what's best for your fucking voice. But I'm not sitting around here all day dancing around in high heels and doing TikToks. I'm actually doing stuff outside the app. So sometimes I shouldn't even have to explain myself because this is my platform and I can justify it and do it however I want.
But you're also allowed to feel how you feel too.
And I'm just getting this off my chest because I feel like everybody that's in here is a friend. Like I don't feel like they're followers. I don't feel like all 800,000 people that I lost in my last account. I don't feel like those were followers, Pripsy. I feel like those 800,000 people, they can't come and find me
I
now.
feel like a
because-
child
wait,
stuck in the
let me
middle of like an
finish.
awkward divorce right now.
They can't come and find me now because that account's been banned, and I literally had to help kids through suicidal situations, which I called Kat on numerous amounts of times because I had a kid about to fucking kill himself.
That was really
and now
bad.
I'm thinking when my account's gone, oh my God, that kid's not going to be able to find me now. That's where my mind went. Not, oh my God, 800,000 followers. No. I had people that I was truly helping that can never find me because y'all want to be fucking petty and do fucking videos to take other conservatives down. Get a fucking life or get a job. One of the two or both.
Right. You also need to make sure, though, that you're not like accusing anybody directly, because this is also like a blanket statement, because this is like massively going on now. Like, I don't want one creator either, the last one that made a video that upset anybody, to be the one that takes the brunt of everything, because it's not how it is. It is so many people that feel the need or feel triggered or feel a type of way when it comes to other creators that they have to like lash out. And I'm not saying anybody specifically when I'm saying this. I'm just saying that like it is the worst it has ever fucking been on conservative TikTok. And that's saying a lot, because it's gotten bad over there with the dramatics and the rest of it. And now it's really ugly anymore.
Well, and honestly, when was the last? When
anymore.
have you heard me publicly live call out anybody by name?
Never. That's why I'm very uncomfortable right now.
Because this is a side. Because this is a side of me that really you guys haven't seen.
No, I mean, I've seen you get mad, but not.
This is where this is why, like, growing up, like, people didn't fuck with me. So this is what you're seeing right now, because trust me, I will get so nasty, and I don't want to. Like, that's not what I want people to see.
No, you don't need to do that. Because that's not you.
Right. And you can only poke the bear so much.
I 100% agree with you on that one, Justin.
What? That
Censored Patriot and that bunch was the one that got like the whole shit show started back over on conservative TikTok, and then
I don't even know who is Censored. Like, I'm sorry, I'm really bad with screen names. Like,
that's the one. I'm pretty sure that's who wrote the note.
Oh, okay, great. So they have time already now. Okay, got it.
Massive time.
Yeah. So, and I think that these people, whoever they are that like to stir the pot, I think over the last year or whatever, they're like, well, Ant never gets involved, so we can poke him. Or he never like calls me out. He never sends people after me. And so I can poke him. Trust me, you do not want that from me. I promise you.
Right, but I will, to play devil's advocate, she didn't call you out directly in the video.
I know, but it was sent to me.
I know.
And so it looked like it was directed towards
people
that were putting that.
I literally have, I just got it sent to me 2 more times saying wasn't that in your bio?
You do care about your numbers. And I was like,
okay, but here's the thing. Can I say something? And can I say something now? Because I was someone who used to say that a lot, where I'm like, would get really mad at people for being like, oh my God, all you care about is your follower. Here's my thing though. But like, why come I can't be proud of it?
Right.
Why come I can't be excited about it? Why is it a bad thing if I am excited about it? Because I've had that come at me a lot where they're like, oh, all you care about is your followers, and oh, your account, and oh, your views, and oh, isn't that like the point of the game though, bro? Is to like, not the point of it, but like to get your voice out there for as many people to hear your voice, to bring people together, to do whatever you're doing with your voice. Like, that's kind of the point. So I never understood why it was I would always feel a type of way about it, but now I'm kind of like, why the fuck would I even feel bad about it? You're goddamn right I'm proud of my fucking account. Absolutely I am.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say, okay, to the person who I'm speaking about that made this video, and I'll be more than happy to have a FaceTime with her and talk to her about how I feel. Like, I'm not saying this publicly to not talk to her. I've always been the person that will literally, I will knock on somebody's door and be like, yo, what's up? So I heard that you were saying this. That's me. That's always been me. Tex and I a long time ago had a little bit of a falling out. What did I do? I called him. I'm like, yo, what's good? And so I would talk to him, but like, that's what kind of sparked because I was getting the videos.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that like mind boggles, like, I'm just so like, oh, who has time to like look at these, like look at different people's, I can barely keep up with my own, let alone keep up with other people's like social media and TikTok accounts and be like, oh, this person posted this on their bio and this, but like why? Like,
but can I play devil's advocate again though? Like, so I made a video.
Yeah.
Talking about strippers and people who do OnlyFans, right?
Yeah.
I have friends who are in fact strippers, and I do have friends who have OnlyFans pages.
Same.
Right? Just because I made that video doesn't mean that I don't like those people, doesn't mean whatever. So just because something was said that you fit in with, also, I don't want you to feel personally attacked. Does that make sense? I guess.
Yeah, because I publicly stated how I felt about women on OnlyFans couple weeks ago, and I have friends that are on.
Right.
OnlyFans. So I get that.
I mean, but at the same time, like it's this one is hard for me, and it's very awkward that we're doing it on a live. But it's all kind of happening like while we're on, because like while you're talking, it is being sent to me multiple times as well. Like I said. Didn't you have that in your bio? Yes, I did have that in my bio when I came back. It did say Bandit, you know, whatever.
But
it didn't bother me because I am such good. Like I love her. We're good friends. So like it didn't bother me, but I can see how without having a friendship, right? Like to kind of like distance myself from it. Like if I would have been like, well, okay, fuck you too then. Like, so I see
that's
both.
Exactly what happened. I was like,
especially
okay,
on top of all the other bullshit. Yeah, and like Katro says, like I've made it super clear how I felt about all of that stuff from forever, but it doesn't, like, it's never ever meant that I felt any different type of way. Like, I mean, if that's what you want to do with your life, that's fine. Do not expect me to encourage it. Don't expect me to. I don't care. I feel a way about it, and I don't want to be involved in it. You do you, I do me. It doesn't mean that, like, I think that I hate you now, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But
what I'm saying is, it's like, I never get involved in any of the drama. People will always come into my lives or my podcasts on Monday and like kind of, and I know what they're doing. Like they've done it for a year, like certain group, like different people, it's all different people will kind of like come in and be like, hey, Aunt, to see kind of how I react to them walking into the room. And I'm always like, hey, even if one of my friends has a problem with them, it didn't involve me. So if something personally somebody didn't do something personal to me, I will never get involved. If they're in a fight with somebody else, it's not my fight until it's life-threatening to my other friend or me. What?
I was like, yeah, no, I'm definitely not like that. If anybody talks shit about someone that I love, I'm like, what's that?
No. But unless it's to the point where it's like, okay, wait a minute. Like they can't handle, like, you know,
I see what you mean.
Yeah, you get it. But, and I'll have one eye open for that other person. But in these situations I'm seeing lately, it's like, y'all really don't want to see Aunt get involved. I swear to you, please don't test me. I promise you do not want me to get involved. And then so now it's like this layer of all this crap that's been happening over the last weekend or 2 weeks or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I can't. I can't fight liberals and conservatives at the same time. And I'm not going to go after the liberals. I'm actually going to come from the conservatives harder because I love the conservatives. Yeah. So when you love somebody, you're going to fucking fight them because you're so pissed at them. Whereas if I don't give a fuck about you, I'm not even going to deal with you. I'll just completely ignore you. So you really don't want me. So that's what I'm saying. Like when I kept getting that video sent to me during this live and I had to step away from it, I'm like, what is this now? What is this?
Right, but you also have to ask yourself, like, what the fuck is your intention on mass sending me videos that I'm not tagged in. I'm not tagged in that video. Why have I had it sent to me 3 times? Like, so while like, do you see what I mean? Like, there's also that component of it too, where like there's
why is that person trying to serve?
There's also people on the app that love being a part of it, and they'll like send you video. I mean, for fuck's sake, there is a girl who made a whole ass video about how I'm damaging her psychologically today, and because the video that I made for her was body shaming. It wasn't for her.
Oh, like body shaming.
And even the person that I went after, who I don't get along with, Meg, she even commented on it. Was like, yeah, no, dude, she was talking to me, not you. Knock it off. Like, so it's also people mass sending it too. Like, so because someone sent it to her, like, oh, Kat's talk. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that I wasn't talking about her. But there is those people too. Like, we experienced that with the whole drama shit show that went down with What's Her Fucking Nuts. There was constant videos being sent like, oh, this is about you. Oh, this is about you. When, what is the point in that? Like, other than to piss me off, upset me, so that what? You can be a weirdo and like watch me fight with this person now? Right. Like, you're weird, bro. Like,
right.
And then simultaneously in the comment section, these are the same people that are like, oh my God, they think they're famous. Oh my God, they
always looks bored.
Stop treating TikTok creators like they're celebrities, because A, it's annoying as fuck, and B, like, none of them are making good money. They don't make enough money to put up with half the fucking drama. So it's like, I don't understand. Like, you can be mad at somebody, I guess, but in order to be like famous or popular, people have to make you that.
But why are people not lifting each other up, even if they are going down that road? I mean, for instance.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that it's a bad road.
I know you're not.
Support behind you, regardless. Like, you have to have fans, supporters, whatever, in order to get big. So obviously people like you. Why is that a bad thing? Once again, like, why are you being punished for people liking you?
Right. And for instance, like, I was on a live today with a couple of creators. One has a book signing going on in Nashville. The other person has a clothing line that they just joined. Mm-hmm. And I had, in talking, I was like, yo, bro, tell them where your book signing is going to be at Nashville so people could come see you. Yo, girl, tell me what that clothing line is. Like, we're all lifting each other up. And then after, I got a message from one of them saying, you know what I love about you, Aunt, is that you uplift everybody's businesses that they're doing. And I'm like, well, why? I'm like, right, we all do that, but like, why isn't everybody else doing that? Like, why isn't everyone's like, fuck yeah, you have a fucking photo shoot? That's sick. Like, hell yeah. Oh, Lions Not Sheep sponsored you? That's fucking dope. Instead, they're like, sellouts, fucking,
I don't know,
patriots. Like, why?
I don't know.
Tell me.
I really don't. I'll never be able to figure it out, ever. But all I know is that, like, I'm happy with me. And I'm happy with what I'm doing. And I don't really care anymore what anybody has to say about it. Because, like, my end goal is bigger than me. And it's bigger than anybody else. So when I look at it, it's just so fucking insignificant. Because all it's going to do is, over time, deter you from doing what you're supposed to be doing and what you're meant to do. And you're obviously meant to do it because people flock to you. So people can either, like, embrace your light or try to fight it. That's on them. That's not on you. You know what I mean? Right. Also, my edibles are kicking in. So
I have to pack because I'm leaving for Dallas at, like, 3 a.m.
But I love you, and I'm sorry that you're having a bad night.
I'm sorry too, but I'm really sorry.
Don't be. No, I mean, I think that this is maybe helpful. Maybe you guys people can see that, like, that think that, doing a podcast and having, a substantial account is this big, awesome, fun thing all the time. And it's fucking not. It's not. Like, I mean, I've literally been bullied and berated for 8 hours straight now because I don't like human trafficking. But I think it's good for people to see that. So I'm sorry that you had a bad night, and I love you. Okay.
Thanks for calming me down, Kat.
Yeah,
As
Tex
always.
was on Tinder the whole fucking time. He doesn't even care.
I'm just sitting here.
I'm just joking. He was actually listening. He was looking at you the whole time.
Except for now, he wasn't really caring. I'll see
Now
you.
he's back. Do you guys like my new Michigan shirt? Isn't it funny?
Yes.
Cody got it for me. It's Michigan. Because we do the hand.
Yes.
And the other hand on top.
Yes. It's cute. I guess
Okay,
we'll leave.
look.
All right. Love you guys.
I love you.
Talk to you guys later.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye bye.